The Michael Waddell Podcast is presented by Spandau Arms in partnership with Folds of Honor, Spartan Magnaswitch System, and Cigars International. Be sure to like and subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts.
So I would rush home, grab a shower, go back and play music from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. on Saturday. And I did that every single day. And I did that
Holy cow.
for months, and it nearly killed me. But after a while, I started realizing I'm having more fun on my night job than I am on my day job. And oddly enough, I was making more money. How old are you now?
I'm 53.
53.
Yep.
You're
Yep.
10 years.
What you was born in 63, right?
I'm going to be February 9th. I'll be 63.
63. Well, actually, I say I'll be in May 53, so I'm 52.
Okay.
So we're
All right. Yeah,
we're exactly
right there
10
together.
years apart.
Yep.
Exactly.
We sure are.
We still had the Evil Knievel wind-up cord.
That's boy, did we.
I found one the other day online.
you
I bought
really?
it for my kid.
Oh,
We were talking to my
man.
9-year-old, kept saying, "Dad, what's your favorite all-time toy?" I said, "Man, ain't even a doubt, just like that." And he's 9. I said, "Man, Evil Knievel had a little toy that had a motorcycle. We'd jump."
Absolutely, man.
And so I'm showing him videos, and all of a sudden, and then I get on like Instagram or something, and I'm showing him, and all of a sudden I look, and it says, "Buy now," and it was obviously straight from China.
Oh, wow.
But dude, I bought it, and it's the exact toy. It was $70.
Unbelievable.
So it was probably what 10, 15 back then.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And anyway, it works. I've had more fun with that. I mean, I'm arguing with him like, "My turn," we're trying to jump stuff.
When I was a kid, man, that was a huge one. Hot Wheels racetracks, man, that had the loop and the whole golly, all of that stuff.
It was just
like
a bomb, man.
Yeah, the bomb.
I know my wife gets tired of me living back and talking about all the
Yeah.
70s and 80s stuff, but man, that was just,
Oh, dude.
I mean, I'm having a lot of fun now, but man,
Totally
just
different era.
completely.
My mother had saved, she gave them to me last year. She had saved I had all my Hot Wheels cars in a little vinyl Hot Wheels case with each individual compartments. She had saved all those for me
Are you serious?
and gave them back to me.
So
last
that
year.
was back from the 70s and
Back
80s.
the 60s, actually.
That's right. Been late 60s
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
And you know what's amazing about them Hot Wheels? You can still go in and find a Hot Wheel for like $1.
Oh, yeah.
$1.29.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there looking like, how do they even make these now?
Some
for
of
$1?
those things, man, like those old ones,
Yeah.
are just priceless.
Yeah. I mean, some of those Hot Wheels are before they even the classic. Like you find an old Chevelle, but that was
Oh,
even before.
absolutely.
That was when the first ones.
That's
they were.
right.
That was like the new Corvette then.
That's right.
That you had, and it was
That's
original.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Travis Tritt, man, thank you for having us, buddy. Thank you
Man,
for
it's
having
my
us
pleasure.
hanging out with us, and man, this is awesome. Obviously, we've met a few times. I've always been a big fan of your music, but and even a bigger fan of what you're doing now, and having a chance to met your family, Teresa, and all the knuckleheads. Old Tristan, I see he's picking and playing and getting after it and stuff. So, man, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, before we know it, it's going to be turkey season. I know what we'll be doing. We'll be
Yes, sir.
trying to find a old turkey bird somewhere.
That's right. Absolutely.
Have you had any good quail hunts this year? I know that's a big passion of yours.
We have, as a matter of fact, my boys and I, we try to do at least 2 or 3 good hunts every year. We went down to Cairo, Georgia in November and hunted for about 3 days down there. And then we went back in January to Dorchester in Savannah and hunted for 3 more days and just had a blast, man.
Man, that's awesome.
My boys, though, when they were just little kids, I kept thinking to myself, man, I hope they grow up one day with a passion for this like I have, and I hope I get a chance to hunt with them, you know? And then I was thinking about just a few weeks ago when we went on that last hunt. When I started quail hunting way back when, it was pretty much a spectator sport for me because the guys that I went with, one in particular, my buddy, Steve Johnson, he was one of the best. He was like a surgeon with a shotgun. I mean, and it didn't matter what kind of gun it was, side by side, over and under, whatever. He could shoot them extremely well, and he was extremely quick. And so I started out as a spectator basically because I never would get a shot with him around. Yeah, he's so fast. And one day we were on a quail hunt together. This is when we first had met. And we were on a quail hunt together and somewhere down in South Georgia. And he said, about halfway through the day, he said, Travis, he said, I'm just going to tell you. He said, you going to pay for half of this hunt whether you kill any birds today or not.
He's just letting you know, hey, man, I know you've been making a little money out here doing good with this guitar and singing, but nothing's changed. I'm going to shoot all the birds.
So it made me be, obviously, to be competitive, to be faster.
Right.
And more accurate. And I got to that point. So when my sons came out the first time, when they were, just young, it was no longer a spectator sport for me. It was like, I'm the one.
You're cracking them down.
I'm the one that's going to be shooting all the birds. And man, over the years, they have gotten so fast and so darn accurate. It's come full circle now. I am back to being a spectator. If all three of us are lined up in getting ready to flush a covey, I basically, before I can get my gun to my shoulder, they have killed all the birds.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing. So I was just laughing to myself the other day. I thought, well, I'm back to where I started.
It's like, Pops, you still got the tab, right? You still got.
Oh, I'm still paying for everything.
Come back me first, get that country fried steak and at the buffet when they get back to. That is a cool situation to see that, though, especially in that case, to go with an old buddy.
Yes.
Where he was a crack shot. Now you see it, and your kids are sitting there and getting you quick on the draw like that.
It's just amazing. And I mean, the first time that my boys were allowed to go with me, I mean, they were probably, 13, 14, something like that. And now they're both in their 20s. And my youngest son, they're both great. My youngest son, he was a tutor under my buddy Steve Johnson.
So your buddy showed him how to shoot.
That was his godfather.
How about that?
So he would say every time we would go hunting together, he'd say, come on, son, you gonna come with me. And he would take my youngest, Terrian.
Yeah.
And he would just teach him how to shoot, be quick, be accurate. And man, he's gotten so good.
That is so cool.
It's just amazing.
I've never was that good at wing shooting, and I'm like you still. Like when I go, I mean, everybody picks on me like, Waddell, you need to stick with the bow hunting, man. I'm the one that goes to the Dove field and shoots 2 cases. Like,
sure.
hey boys, I got my limit.
Oh
like,
yeah,
and they're thinking game wardens camped out by me. Like I know we're gonna get the bone collector breaking the rules. It's like no, I come up one short, but like how many times did you shoot? Like way too many.
Oh man!
But I do love it.
I do too.
And too, back then, Travis, you were talking about quail hunting in Georgia. You're an old Georgia boy. I remember in the 70s and even early 80s, we had quail, man, up in these parts. So you could about walk around, jump up a cubby of quail.
When I was a kid in Georgia in the late 60s and early 70s, we didn't have any deer around here.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, the only places that you could hunt, there was no such thing as private leases or private land that you could lease or rent from somebody. There was, up in North Georgia, there was and down around Monticello, there was another big
public area,
land,
public land hunting,
that
like
you
a
can
WMA,
hunt.
Wildlife
Right.
Management Area.
But around Marietta, Georgia, where I grew up, if you so much as saw a deer track,
Right.
you went back and told everybody in town, because we didn't have any deer around here. However, back in those days, you could go to any plot of woods and you could step 20 yards into the woods and hear a wild covey of quail. And now it's completely the opposite. We don't have wild quail around here anymore.
Mm-mm.
But we have more deer than we know what to do with.
Right.
They're just everywhere. It's so funny how that changed.
I often wondered, what's your theory on what happened? I mean, you hear ag, you hear this and that, but
I think the DNR, I've been told that they started bringing in deer to the southeast, especially in Georgia, about sometime in the early 70s,
mm-hmm.
and gradually managed that population to where it consistently grew. But of course, back then, I mean, deer hunting, people ask me today, do you deer hunt? And I say, I really don't much.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for it is because back in the late 60s and early 70s, deer hunting was nowhere close to what it is. First of all, we didn't have any deer. Second of all, back in those days, all we had, there were no, like these luxury, I've got one, a luxury.
Like the redneck blinds. That's right.
With a little buddy heater in it,
Right.
And that you jump up inside of and slide the windows open all the way around. No, man, we had those old climbing stands.
Right.
Oh,
Baker climbing
stands. And I have nearly broke my neck climbing a tree with those things. Hook it to your feet, climbing a tree. Of course, you couldn't get on a big tree, you know.
Right.
So big around. Well, by the time you got up 20 feet, that thing was like maybe 6 inches around. And if the wind was blowing, you're blowing left and right all over the place. There's nothing around you.
Right.
You get up in the top of the tree. This has happened to me more times than I can count. Get up in the top of the tree, and all of a sudden, that bottom part breaks loose, and now you're stuck.
Yeah.
How am I going to get down from here?
Because it never would really bite. Like
No.
You felt like the only thing that kept it up there was just the weight.
Absolutely.
Of you,
100%. So, man, I have froze my butt off on so many of those.
You wouldn't see nothing probably.
No, you would never see a deer, spend hours and hours and hours up there. And I finally, what really did it for me, it was back in the early to mid 80s. I was actually starting to play music. It's way before record deals, any of that. I was starting to play music, and I went down. I was playing at a place called Chico Dill's in Marietta, Georgia. On opening day was that Saturday. I had to play Saturday night until 3 a.m.
Holy cow. Yeah.
But as soon as I got done, I already had my truck packed, and I got in my truck and I drove from Marietta to Monticello. And when I got down there,
That's
it was
at least 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it was still dark. And I knew that place pretty well because I'd hunted there numerous times. So this is Sunday morning, and I got out of my truck, parked my truck up on the hill, and I walked down to a spot where there was a big oak tree that had fallen over, and I just sat down. It's still dark.
Right.
You can't see your hand this far in front of your face. And I just cleared all the leaves out, and I leaned up against that oak tree, and I'm getting ready for the sun to come up.
Right, yeah.
The woods to start waking up. And back up the hill over my head, somebody opened up with a fully automatic rifle.
Holy
I hear,
cow.
"Pow," and I hear the bullets coming through the trees above my head.
You can hear them hitting the tree.
And it's dark. You never knew who you were in the woods with.
Right.
And it scared me so bad. And I, at one point, after sitting there for what seemed like forever, probably a minute or two, I yelled. I said, "Hey, there's somebody down here." And that person opened up again. I got back on my belly, and I belly crawled up that hill all the way back to my pickup truck, got in my truck, and drove back home. And I said, "I'm never doing this again.
Like, I'm out on this.
I'm out."
Like an episode of Red Dawn. Like,
Yeah,
like,
man.
Is this the Russians up here in the tree? What is going
And for
on?
years, I didn't hunt at all until I met my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And her father was running a quail plantation down in close to Ocala, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the one that got me involved in bird hunting, all different types of birds.
Kind of got you right back to
that,
like you was a kid again.
and I loved it because not only for the sport of it, but there is nothing to me that is more fun than watching a bunch of really good bird dogs work
Yeah.
and coordinate together. I just love it. I love everything about it.
That's
the
as
same
good
thing
as-
with you know, quail, dove, duck, turkey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, any of that stuff. I just love it.
There ain't nothing like it. You're right. When the dog part of it,
Oh man.
and it's social, you can talk,
Yes,
you can laugh.
Absolutely.
Again, you can sell them whoop tickets. Who's going, who's going to get the double? You know,
That's right.
And then what I also love about the quail stuff is like the breakfasts in the morning, that cup
yeah,
of coffee. I mean, if people don't get a chance to get a part of that, like I said, it really ain't. I mean, yeah, you're trying to get you a mess of quail, but it's
Sure.
it's so much more than that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
100%.
Stories of that, so good.
Yeah, there is nothing I like better than hunting flushing birds behind pointing dogs.
It's so fun.
It is the most fun I've ever
Have you
had.
done any squirrel hunting yet with dogs?
I haven't done it with dogs. Now,
Yeah.
when I was a kid, that was one of the things that we used to do.
We'd walk through the neighborhoods.
Oh,
with
yeah,
22s.
man. Absolutely. Yeah, we would go out in the woods. We'd drive up to someplace up in North Georgia around
Yeah.
Canton or that area, which that was way before it was populated. It was mostly.
It's probably show enough country
Oh,
then,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, for sure.
Cartersville area, all up through there.
Absolutely. And just go squirrel hunt.
Yep. Yeah.
We used to love that.
Well, it's funny you was talking about the dog. So I squirrel hunted, but like you did, like we would
Sure.
walk around, just shoot
Sure.
up a nest. And
That's right.
Pop you a few squirrels. But
That's right.
it's funny, all the stuff we've done. I finally got me a couple little squirrel dogs, and I have had so much fun. No pressure. Like I said, you can take off 2 or 3 of you and them squirrel dogs. When them dogs are done treed,
Oh, yeah.
you know there's a squirrel up there. You
Oh,
might shake a
absolutely.
vine, or we even got to where we'll, take a little wiffle ball bat and hit the tree sometimes, get them to move. And you would think when you finally see a squirrel, it's like Al Qaeda's up there, son.
That's
Everybody,
it.
I see him. And then you pop him, and dogs go out and hunt another one. And I don't know. We've done a lot of and still do a lot of the big game stuff, but
Sure.
them squirrel dogs and that, kind of like quail to me, those are the hunts that take you back to your roots,
Absolutely.
especially when you got your buddies, your kids.
Yeah.
I know you and Teresa love to go to do the same. I didn't realize that it was her dad, that situation.
Yeah,
That's cool.
he's the one that basically introduced me to, and of course all her brothers and her whole family. I mean, they all grew up with that type of background experience, and so they're the ones that really got me started with that. And then it just gradually progressed over the years from that to dove shooting, and then turkey hunting, and
Right.
just all the other things that I just love. I still love to go out. I mean, we went to Africa in 2006, my wife and I,
Yeah.
and took her dad, and her dad's brother-in-law, which they both married. Teresa's mom and her mom's sister are twins, identical twins.
Yeah.
So when they grew up, Teresa was born in Kenya, in Nairobi,
I didn't
Kenya,
know that, really?
in Africa.
How about
Because
that?
her father was stationed over there. This is after he got out of Vietnam. And he and his brother-in-law, they were over there in Africa pouring all of the concrete for the runways in Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Port Elizabeth, all over Africa. And they talked about that every time we would get together for Christmas. They would talk about, hunting in Africa. And man, I would love to go back one more time. So in 2006, we took them.
Dude, did they love it?
Oh, they just loved it.
So it was more than a hunt for them.
Absolutely.
It was a revisiting.
Yep.
Had a lot of memories. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's crazy too. And also, we were talking even before we got started talking. It's amazing when you look at some of those African countries and where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
The economy and stuff. It's like, I've often wondered why. Obviously, we go over there and hunt, and it's amazing.
Sure.
But I've often wondered, I don't know why half our politicians don't go over there. Why don't you go visit Zimbabwe now?
Absolutely.
Go out there now and tell me how,
Sure.
whatever socialism or communism, when everybody's seeing one goat walking down the street,
That's
and
right.
well, we can't kill him now. The whole community's going to eat this one goat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that might be a
man.
little exaggeration, but it's amazing to see where the Africa part and how. And another thing that amazes me though is just how most of the people there give you the last piece of beef jerky they got.
Oh, sure, 100%.
Just sweet people,
But the poverty level over there was that was the thing that stunned me the most.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
When you
shocked.
see a truck pull up with those old wooden sideboards on the back, long truck, and then had one piggybacked on the back of it, and as many people as they could fit
in that truck,
on the back of that truck, that's how they would go back and forth to town every day.
It's unbelievable. To me, the first time I went, it was South Africa, and then later we went and did some of the other Botswana and Zimbabwe and stuff. And I remember thinking, even when I got back, I was telling my kids. Well, one is I brought them all back from Zimbabwe, a $5 billion bill.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, so everybody, I said, guys, you ain't gonna believe it. The trip was amazing. The whole company, all my kids were all billionaires now, and they're all looking at me, and I passed them out the Zimbabwean currency because I remember I was freaking out. I got my bill from this little place we're staying on the river that we went fishing for tiger fish, and anyway, I got my bill, and it was like I forgot, it looked like too many zeros to count. And I'm like, man, what the heck is going on? And I remember finally the Botswanian guy said, no, it ended up to be like $800, for a whole crew to stay the night.
Exactly.
But I'm like, man, it looked like 80 trillion. Oh, that's the currency. And after the Rhodesia thing, the guy was explaining to me. In the meantime, he has to be careful what he said because there's a picture of Mugabe sitting there.
Yeah, right.
That he has to have in his lodge. And I remember thinking, coming back and telling my kids, like, well, one is, here's $1 billion bill, but you better appreciate that Apple Jolly Rancher. Because, I saw kids nearly kill themselves just giving them candy. Like, I thought I was going to start a fight with some now-laters.
It's exactly.
I mean, they were so happy just to get a
100%.
treat like that. It blew my mind.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely eye-opening to go over there and see that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was for me, too. It was like going back in a time capsule. Is that what you thought?
Yes, very much.
It was almost like
so.
I felt like not even in the 60s and 70s. It felt like more like the 30s or 40s to me.
Exactly.
South Africa was a little different, but
yes,
Zimbabwe for sure. Out of all the places I went, I was like, man, this is crazy. I remember I didn't have any desire like to hunt the elephant, and even I wanted to hunt a Cape buffalo.
I do too.
The plains game, that stuff was intriguing to me. And but I had one particular friend who was on an elephant hunt, and I've told this story before, but I remember he ended up getting an elephant, and I was there. I got to witness it, and but I remember that particular elephant that he shot. First of all, all the money went to build schools and stuff. It was crazy. I mean, back then, I want to say he paid 50, 60 grand for this hunt, right?
It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap. And
the thing is, too, when you think about the amount, I mean, I know when we went in 2006, man, they loved seeing us come.
Yes.
Anybody that was a hunter, they loved having you come on because you were pumping so much money
right
into their economy that otherwise they would not
There's nothing else there.
There's nothing else.
You don't hear those areas.
That's
You don't hear
exactly
them. You can turn over to CNN, Fox, any of them. You'd never even hear the names of those countries, those tribes.
That's right.
And I was blown away because you're right. They were so happy because one is, I forget, I don't know exactly the way the professional hunters and the way they lease different areas, but I know a high percentage, maybe it's even 30 to 40%. And, maybe if somebody sees this can comment on it and say, get me correct. But so much of that money, whether it's you and I, whether we're hunting a kudu or a impala, so much of that money is going right back into these tribal councils and stuff. And then too, on this particular deal, this elephant, it was allotted to a certain village. Right. So we took an old Massey Ferguson tractor, and I remember I was out there with the other Zimbabweans, and we're cutting up this meat, and I'm helping butcher the elephant. Don't know anything about it, but it's a lot of meat, obviously. And
yes.
And I remember we had this wagon full of meat. And so we're taking it. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive where we're going to take down this dirt road, this wagon full of elephant meat. And I mean, it is just full. I've never seen that much meat in my life. So they sent me with the elephant, and the guy that shot the elephant, he was going on back to camp and hunting. He said, man, you go with the tribe, and we had our TV cameras there. And so anyway, there was people running out and grabbing hunks of meat. And when we got there to this, like a town hall, which, I mean, middle of nowhere, there was a line. You'd have thought Jerry Reed and Elvis was doing a meet and greet.
Right.
They was lined up there, ladies, men, women, and I'm telling you, they must have been 100 people out there standing in line, ready for their ration of this elephant meat, and they were just putting a chunk of dusty meat, and they were hugging me and high-fiving, and the only takeaway, I remember the chief of the tribe come up to me and he said, "It's not enough meat," and I said, man, it's an elephant. That's the biggest thing we could find.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
So they literally, and I remember the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, if I brought a piece of this meat home to my wife, if I was in the backyard and said, "Hey, sweetie, look here, a piece of dusty meat," even if it was deer, elk, or even some quail that was that rude and that unpresentable, she was like, you can take me to, we'll go to Chick-fil-A. And they were just, like it was life-saving. And that's what eye-opened to me, is like the appreciation of what they didn't have, but what they appreciated, what they did get.
It makes you, at least in my case, I'm sure it does for you and probably most people, it makes you extremely grateful for having the things that we have in this country, because a lot of places don't have that.
They don't. It's not even close. And and that's all it was. At the time, all I kept thinking about, and I remember going home literally, and it's probably about the time I even thought about the first time politics. Dude, I'm getting a chance to go to these places, and at the time I feel like we're doing okay, and I'm just so happy to get to go on these hunting adventures. Whether it's a quail hunt in Thomasville or, go hunt Cape Buffalo in Botswana or Zimbabwe.
That's right.
But when I come back, I remember that 2 or 3 days after, I'm literally watching, it was Fox News, and I remember it was some debate with some politician. They had Republicans, Democrats, and I remember thinking, man, I don't know nothing about this, but why don't both of them, if you want to serve our country, why don't you go spend 6 months in Zimbabwe?
Sure.
Just spend 6 months. And you can get an idea of everything one is, what you're representing and what we all have in America versus what don't work in some of these other countries.
That's correct.
And you can also see that a lot of those people, they seem to be pretty happy, but there's not one single friend of mine that I could have put and left them in that village that would have been happy.
No.
They'd have been miserable. So it let me know that not only me, but all my buddies, even these roughneck old Georgia boys I grew up with, we're so spoiled.
We are spoiled. That was the exact word I was thinking while you were saying that.
I just felt so spoiled. I felt inadequate because I'm
Very
thinking,
much so.
I'm complaining, we're so lucky. But if you hung sheetrock for a living or finished concrete, then we know how lucky we are, to do what we do to generate a dollar. But I'm sure those guys would come back, and you kind of see it. You go to Las Vegas, get in a cab, they're the happiest people. See somebody got a Zimbabwe tag or Kenya. Them suckers are talking and nice and very appreciative. Give them a little tip, just tickled to death,
Reminds me of the old saying, and I don't know who quoted it, but I used to be unhappy about the fact that I had no shoes until I met the man who had no feet.
Amen. Amen. That's exactly right. Everything's in perspective.
100%.
If you ever notice too, Travis, it seems like the older we get, all those little old time sayings that our granddaddies and, you know, like our one that's he hits me clear now is like the believe none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Absolutely.
And I remember even as a kid, like, if I see it.
Dude, I use that all the time.
And now look how, and that was before there was any of this AI and social media. But now I'm looking at something, I'm trying to discern, did this big lady just fall through the floor at Kentucky Fried Chicken? And it's like, I'm seeing it, but it ain't real. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I heard that in 1974 from my pawpaw.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Some of those old things like that too, they're just as true today as they were back then.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's so true. But you're right. It gets back to that whole metaphor about, you don't like your shoes, well, what if you ain't got no feet to put them on?
Yeah, that's right.
You're like any pair. Barefooted would be pretty fine.
Absolutely.
Golly, that's crazy. Yeah, that's all for me. I'm so glad. I think that's opened my horizon, is being able to see a lot of that and really make me proud even more to be American and even being able to hunt. I mean,
sure.
Those guys over there, I remember, and man, I got in a lot of trouble for this from one of the PHs. There was a guy there in the tribe, and he had an old 20-gauge shotgun. And I was trying to ask him, he didn't know English, and I kept asking him, I said, I was trying to ask him, did he ever get him an Impala with that shotgun? And then finally, once I got the point across, he pulled out his shot shell, and it was a 20-gauge shell, and it was just regular old 8-shot, bird shot, like a quail hunt with. He said, no, he was talking about guinea fowl, like he pops him a few guinea fowl and some birds and stuff like that. So I pulled out my pocket knife, and I said, let me show you something. I showed him how to ream a shell, how to make that. And dude, and it was such an old shell, it had cardboard around it.
Right.
And I was showing him, and I got through it, and I cut the shell. And first he was freaking out. I said, Impala. I was trying to let him know that now you got you a slug.
That's
and
right.
dude, it was like you teaching some kid that's wanting to play a guitar, and you said, here's how you play Sweet Home Alabama. Let me show you this. He's picking it this way. Like, that. And man, all of a sudden, that PH grabbed me, he pulled me and said, you got a minute? He said, never do that again. He said, that you're going to get this guy killed. Yeah. He said, you're going to teach him how to poach. He said, even this guinea fowl, he's not. And I said, man, I'm sorry. My pawpaw showed me that. Sure. I mean, I don't know if it's legal or illegal. I know it works.
Sure it does.
I mean, and so I was just trying to teach the guy, like, hey, man, you're right. This birdshot ain't going to hurt an impala, but if you can get 15 yards from it in a water hole, ream that shell, and you can take you home an impala to feed your family. But I didn't think of the politics. I was just like, another thing that hit me, I remember sitting there talking to this guy, and we were talking. I said, man, this Mugabe's an asshole. And when I said that, he started looking, he said, like, don't say anything.
Don't say that.
And think about it. We can sit here. I don't care if you're in Minneapolis. You can sit there and bash Trump all you want.
Sure.
You can be wherever in a conservative neighborhood, and you can bash Kamala Harris or whatever her name is, and you can do anything you want.
Sure.
And at the end of it, you might have somebody that don't agree with your opinion, but all right, where y'all gonna go eat for lunch?
Well, that's what I love. That's one of the things I've really grown to love about our military in this country, because I've had so many people that were in the military or current military members tell me, you know what? We might not like what you have to say, but we will fight to the death for your right to say it.
Amen to that. And that is America.
That's America.
Everybody has the right to disagree.
That's right.
Agree, and basically have a say in what they think is right or wrong or whatever it is, weird as it is. No, that's right.
This American experiment, the United States, is still, to me, one of the most amazing things ever. I mean, there's no question about it. And I don't just say this out of pride. I have a tremendous amount of pride, but I say it because it's a fact. This is the greatest country on the face of the planet. I would not want to be anywhere else.
I agree. I totally agree. And maybe that does, come to Travis. I mean, first of all, you think about when you started playing music.
Yes.
And you think about that, and it's funny. I have this intuition that we probably grew up somewhat similar. You know, country, probably had Leonard Skinner cranked on the radio.
Absolutely.
With Waylon Jennings. And
yes.
first time we heard Eddie Van Halen hit Panama, we're like, oh, that's, yeah, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, I just picture probably was riding around the same Dairy Queen with a bottle of Boone's Farm wine trying to see if Laura Jo Norman was there getting a blizzard, you know. And,
That's right.
And so in that, I think about it, but then you think about you trying to figure out, what am I going to do for a living? You know, what am I going to do? Man, am I going to be a construction worker? Am I going to figure out this or that? Or then, you know, you look at a high rise, you're like, I don't know if I want to be stuck in that all day selling insurance or whatever it is. But then in America, you know, you look like, man, you know, you was telling me the story of that Stratocaster. You get a 6-string, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, man, I love this music. Maybe started at church, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, I can take this guitar and entertain, and it leads to a career. How can anybody, I mean, argue with the fact that in America you can be anything you want to be?
I am living proof of that.
Amen. Yes.
100%. Because I came from nothing, but this is the land of the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, if you are willing to work hard enough and put everything you have into something, you have the opportunity to do whatever you want to do for a living in this country. And that's one of the things I worry about, because my sons and my daughter are now in their 20s, but especially with my sons, I see what they're struggling with. It's very similar to what I struggled with a little bit when I graduated. I graduated high school in 1981. And I remember hearing on the radio in the early part of that year, of course, that was back when we were having all kinds of problems in this country. The economy was upside down, and somebody came on the radio and said that one of the big universities had done a survey or a study, and they said that less than 5% of the high school graduates in 1981 would ever own a home. And I remember thinking, man, that's scary. It was extremely scary, because that's me.
You're the kid.
That's me you're talking about. And I see now with my sons, they're kind of facing that same kind of question, uncertainty about the future, because nowadays, you know, all these kids their age, I call them kids, they're grown men.
Right.
But they're wondering, how am I ever going to be able to afford to buy a home? Or, you know, priorities have shifted now.
Yeah.
I'll never attain that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so people, my son's age, a lot of them, they're not interested in owning a home. Most of them are not even interested in owning a vehicle, a car.
Right.
They want to spend whatever money they make on experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's good for me because concerts is one of the big things.
Right.
Festivals, you know, that sort of thing. But experiences, travel, you know, that sort of thing. And it's just shifted so much from when I was younger, because when I was a kid, everybody, you get education, whether it's high school or whether you go on into college. And then after that, you get a good job, you get married, have children, and buy a house.
Yep.
You know, own a house, own a car. You know, that was just the progression that everybody went through, and it's really changed. And I find it very interesting to watch that and to see that. I was talking with my buddy John Lovell just a few weeks ago, and he was talking about he's doing the same type of thing, observing young men. And basically, why are they so frustrated?
And that's John, the comedian, right? Lovell?
No, John,
it's just another friend.
John Lovell is, he has a organization called the Warrior Poets.
That's right. Okay. I'm thinking of, you remember I'm thinking the guy on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he is basically sort of studying all that because his sons are in that
same age.
About that same age.
I've got kids in that same age.
Yeah, 13, 14, 15.
And even some of mine now are 19 to say 25, 26.
Exactly.
It's tough. Does it feel like it's almost, but you're right. It's almost like fast forward from 81, you graduated and you're hearing that.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly some 40 plus years later.
Yeah.
To where these kids are kind of somewhat in that situation of, you're right. I just had this conversation with my son yesterday, who's 19. He's like, Dad, I'm trying to figure out how to get out on my own. I'm trying to average out this. And you know what he asked me? He said, Dad, how much, I've been buying groceries here and there. How much does your average weekly grocery cost are? Well, again, I'm like, it ain't nothing like it used to be.
No.
And then what I told him, I said, you definitely need to come by and get more ground elk and deer out of my freezer and concentrate. Look at that crab macaroni cheese box a little closer. You know?
Sir. 100%.
But I do. I think you hit on something, and you said it great, and I haven't heard it said a lot like that. But you're right. It's easy to kind of beat up on this younger generation, say, "Oh, well, they don't do this." And our time I felt like was different. I'm 10 years exactly apart from you, so that tells us our age. But I graduated in 91, and everything felt pretty good. I never felt the doom of thinking. I remember thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have a house one day. And, but back then you could buy a pretty nice little 3-bedroom home. Might not be your dream home, but literally $60,000. What was that? $700-800 a month?
That's right.
I mean, that's right. You could figure it out.
Well, of course, I'm a boomer. Mm-hmm. You're what? Gen X?
Gen X. That's correct. Yep.
So Gen X and the boomer generation pretty much kind of align. We pretty much see eye to eye on just about everything.
Right.
Because we come from the same type of raising background, generation. We've experienced pretty much the same kind of things. But the Gen Z and everything that's coming past that, I lose track nowadays of what they're called. But like my son's age, your son's age.
I can't even tell you what. I don't know exactly the generation.
They're facing a whole different set of problems that my generation or your generation really never faced.
Right.
And it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, I felt like our problem. I mean, granted, we had some tough problems, but big problems was like, Travis, am I up? Are you up to take a adjustable wrench and tap the starter to make his 63 start?
That's right.
With hell, even if it's young crowd don't even know what we're talking about.
No.
Remember, like, hit it again.
Absolutely.
I mean, you was mad because you done jacked up my new eyesight. I'm over here crawling around, man. I'm gonna be the dirtiest one at the party tonight. Well, I'm sorry, man. We should have took your truck. I told you.
Yes, exactly.
And you're right. And they're just trying to figure out how do I make a payment on a truck?
More than anything, just trying to survive.
Survive. Yes.
That's the dilemma. And I sympathize with them. I really do.
I do too.
I really do. I see where they're coming from, and the more I think about it and the more I read about it and hear commentary about it, it really makes me understand. First of all, understanding is the key to having empathy, I think.
I agree.
So
I agree. My empathy is funny. I would, deep down, I would call myself kind of old school and stuff like that. But I hear the conversation a lot. And I was telling my dad, he's 73, still the toughest old son gun I ever met.
Yes.
Yesterday I cut firewood, and thank God you had let me know that I'm good this day, because my dad yeah, we'll finish this up tomorrow. I said, Dad, I got to go do a podcast, Travis Tritt. He was like, oh, man, tell old Travis, man, I love Travis. And I was thinking, you don't know how happy I am to see Travis, because I ain't got to cut firewood with this old man on my farm, work me to death. Like, Dad, can we stop and get a bologna sandwich? You know what I mean? But he was talking about the younger generation. He's like, man, they don't know this. And I said, Dad, I don't think in some cases, again, empathy, I was saying, Dad, I don't know. I said, you think about it, that's your grandchildren. And I agree. I'm on them hard. Like, get your butt
Yes,
up and work.
absolutely.
Get off the game. Get out here.
Oh, sure.
Work anywhere. Flip burgers. Dig a ditch. Go work with Bill Joe Ellison over here and learn how to lay a brick. You know,
Sure.
figure out this stuff. And you can generate some income, and it's not going to be easy. Life ain't fair. But at the end of the day, even if they do, let's say they get them a stack. Well, ain't that what the young them a stack? Is that
Yes.
a $1,000 bill?
Yes.
What you going to do with $1,000? I mean, it's $1,000, but our $500 I felt like went a lot further than their $1,000. They still, to go get an apartment, they're still looking at over $1,000, $1,500 a month, and this is right out of deal. And then you got everybody saying, we got to get this student loan, go to college, go to university.
Right.
You got to go to UGA, you got to go to Auburn, you got to go over here to Alabama. Well, next thing you know, then they got a credit card sitting in their mail, and then you got 19-year-olds over there already got $5,000, $6,000 in debt because they went and bought the brand new Sitka gear or whatever and bought the shotgun, and they don't even know what they're going to do. They work at Applebee's on the side.
That's right. And plus student loans.
Yeah.
Hanging over their head forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something that things have changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I can have, because I used to be kind of like your dad, you know?
Yeah, I caught myself that way.
I would occasionally, well, they just need to,
bow up.
figure it out.
Get it. I had
Yeah.
to. They need to.
Yeah, right. But when you sit down and start researching and finding out what are they up against, it's not that easy.
We're going to stop for a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. We got so much to come.
Spandau Arms was founded with a simple idea. The best part of hunting isn't the gear, it's the memories. From the first rooster rise of the season in the tall grass to the last second opportunity on the target buck as sunset closes in. Spandau believes firearms should be built to perform, priced to be accessible, and designed to become an essential piece of your hunting story. Their lineup includes field-ready shotguns and precision-driven rifles built for hunters, competitors, and recreational shooters who know that quality and dependability matter more than the hype. Born from the experience of American hunters and crafted by generations of gunmakers, each Spandau firearm is built for real-world performance in the moments that matter.
Look, I love a good cigar. I also love a campfire and stories and a little philosophical talk with my buddies in hunting camp. Like I said, nothing tops it off like a good stogie. And if you're looking for that ultimate cigar experience, Cigars International is your go-to destination for premium handmade cigars. As the industry leader, Cigars International offers the largest selection, unbeatable prices, and customer service that's second to none. Plus, free shipping every day. There's no minimums, there's no limits. Just shop, check out, and enjoy free delivery on every order. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned aficionado, Cigars International makes it easy, approachable, and fun with expert guides, staff reviews, and helpful advice. It's not just about cigars. They've also got cool accessories, from humidors and much more to elevate your smoking experience. Ready to light it up? Right now, you can get 20% off your order plus free shipping every day with my code Waddell. That's WADDELL at checkout, or visit cigarsinternational.com/Waddell, and the discount code will automatically apply. It's not, and it's funny, obviously I didn't even know we'd get a chance to discuss stuff like this, but it's funny you say that, but I've been uncomfortable with my dad discussing this stuff. I'm like, Dad, I'm telling you, they're in a different spot. I mean,
Yes.
right by my house. And even there you live in here, to see where it's growed, can you imagine one of your 19, 20-year-old kids saying, Dad, I think I'm going to buy a house down the road here from you. I mean, it won't even be that nice, and you ain't going to get into it in under $400,000.
That's correct.
Me and you was at the same house. Like I said, I know there's a 10-year difference, but you're right. I mean, some of the same similarities that you were facing getting out of school in 81, but it's a different ball game. Even 100%. The young guys that work with us, I mean, we're always trying to figure out, what's your monthly, what you make. You can pay somebody a good salary, but then you get to sitting back and like, man, I don't even know if they can survive on their own.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. It is. And it's scary. And I think one of the reasons that my generation, probably your generation, see things eye to eye is because we came from the same type of experience where we
Yeah, I agree with that.
We heard our fathers talk about all these different things all of our lives. Pretty much agreed with them,
Yeah, I agree. I
pretty much agreed with them as
Yeah.
far as, all right, you got to go to work. You got to be willing to go out and make your living and do all these things. But we had an understanding between each other because we had similar experiences. And nowadays, I think in order to be able to understand those kids, you have to really sit back and study a little bit and think about, okay, things are different for them than they were for me.
Yes.
And make yourself sort of educate yourself about their situation and what they're facing that makes them feel so, in a lot of cases, makes them feel so frustrated.
I agree. And it's hard being a parent to that because I don't have a magic bullet to say,
no,
here's what it is. I mean, I go
That's
back
right.
to my dad, like just work hard. Your son Tristan, I've met and spent a lot of time with, and I've been very encouraging. I shoot him a text like, saw your music, man, dude, keep grinding. It's not like, I don't know him enough that he can call me Uncle Waddy, but he probably would. And I'm always just hitting him up, and I got his number. I'll text him, and I catch myself when I see that age demographic, I catch myself having an enormous amount of empathy, and I catch myself always wanting to encourage because I know what they're up against.
100%.
Now, I don't have the magic bullet like, hey, here's the deal. Here's how you're going to make it. I don't have a true situation.
I don't either. The only thing I tell my kids is work harder than everybody else.
That's solid advice.
Work harder than everybody else. That's the only reason I think that I was able to have any success in my industry. And that same thing works no matter what you want to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a agriculturist, or if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA, whatever you want to be, work harder than everybody else.
Yes.
And you'll be successful.
I totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, that one piece of advice that I found that goes right along with yours that I will say, all right, so look at your time and even look, which I'm excited to talk about, even that started in your music. But when you look at it, when you were getting those songs on the radio and having those hits and won, you won the not entertainer of the year, but the new country artist of the year. The
Horizon
first year,
Award.
the first time I remember I was riding around high school and I first heard Travis Tritt. That same year, you won the Horizon Award.
That's correct.
But think about who you was up against. I mean, you had a young Dwight Yoakam out there freaking killing it.
Oh, absolutely.
I can go on and on from the Shenandoahs to, you could make a list of, people that now you're friends with, Marty Stewart and all those guys.
Sure.
But, man, that's an overwhelming feeling to look at that and like, okay, I can't be good.
No.
I got to be great. I'm going to have to work harder and harder. So the one thing I've seen in that is I tell my kids, I say, listen, don't get discouraged because the only good news in your discouragement is every kid your age is just discouraged. So it should be easier if you get that motivation, you can be the best electrician.
Absolutely.
You can outwork them. Now, how it plays out, the economy, what things cost, I don't know. But I'm telling you, you've got an opportunity because the only thing I can tell them, and I'm not trying to make this about me and my generation or Travis Tritt's generation, but what I will say, I do think if you'll grind, you will immediately show our generation, like, that kid, I'm all in.
A good work ethic
Yes.
always pays off.
Yes, sir.
It may not pay off as much as you want it to, but it always will pay off.
Right.
And that's one of the things I've tried to really push with both my sons and my daughter. My daughter, she's in the music industry, Tyler Reese. And my oldest son is Tristan, he's trying to find his way in more of a rock world. But, and then my youngest, he wants to go completely separate. He's getting ready to join the Navy.
No way. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's getting ready to sign up just any day now. So everybody's wanting to go their own way, but the one thing that is constant, no matter what you choose, is work hard, have a good work ethic every single day, go out there and grind on it every single day, and I guarantee you'll be happy. You'll be happy at the end of the day.
Well, you definitely did it. And speaking of generations, you know, obviously if you look at your career and speaking of like your dad and your mom, how was that when you finally had done got, you know, feeling pretty confident, I'm playing these gigs, making a little money, fording gas to get to the next one or whatever it is? How were they? Because that same generation probably said, you're going to take that guitar and make a living?
Right.
How was that conversation? Or was they very encouraging? I don't know.
My mother was encouraging, but because I grew up singing in church,
Mm-hmm.
she wanted me to just do gospel music,
Mm-hmm.
you know, strictly. And which I had no problem with that, but I loved so many different styles of music. My dad, he hated the fact that I was trying to pursue music for a living. When I first got started back in the early 80s, I was working for a heating and air conditioning wholesale company in Marietta, Georgia. I was working there, and then I would get off work at about 6 o'clock, go home, take a shower, and I would go to my next gig, which was my night job, which was playing music at a little club. And the way all that got started, I walked into a club one night. It's just a little bar restaurant place, and there was a dude up on this little stage in the corner with just him and a guitar, and he had a drum machine, and he was up there playing music. And I sat and watched that guy all night one night and just thought, I could do what he's doing. I could do what he's doing.
Was there a part of you even thinking deep down, like, I can probably do that better than what he's doing?
I didn't know about better, but I knew I could do it as well as he was doing.
Right. Like, I can do that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
And so I got to know that guy, and over the course of the next year or so, I would come in and I would sit in with him when he was performing. And so when it came time for him to leave, I went to the owner and I said, hey, I want that job. And he said, well, you'll have to audition. And I said, okay. I said, I've been auditioning.
I've been playing.
Yeah, I've been playing. And he said, well, we'll give you a chance, give you a shot at it. And so I went in, I got the job. And after about, I don't know, 8 months of doing that, I was working, like I said, I was managing this heating and air conditioning warehouse, wholesale company. I was managing this branch. And so I had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, every morning, to open up. And then we closed at 6 o'clock every night, Monday through Friday. So I would rush home, grab a shower, go back and play music from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. on Saturday. And I did that every single day. And I did that
Holy cow.
for months, and it nearly killed me. But after a while, I started realizing I'm having more fun on my night job than I am on my day job. And oddly enough, I was making more money.
Because will you still get paid by the owner? Then you'd also have some tip jug, I would
That's
assume.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So I was having more fun, making more money. And so I went to my vice president, who also was a musician in his younger days. And I told him, I said, I really want to pursue this music thing. I said, I don't know if it's going to do anything or not, but I said, I really want to give it a shot. I really want to try.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, go pursue your music. And he said, and if it doesn't work out for you, you've always got a job right here. And that's all I needed.
I bet that felt like a weight off your shoulders too.
100%.
Yeah.
Because after that first gig was done, I didn't know where the next gig was coming from or where the next meal was coming from. So him giving me that, basically that safety net to fall back on, that's all I needed. And I started doing the music for a living and never looked back.
That's such an amazing story of and then obviously you're probably way more rested, so you could concentrate on that 6 o'clock or 7, 8 o'clock when you started playing to in the wee.
I don't know if I was more rested because during the day, I mean, you get home, you go to sleep for maybe, 4 or 5 hours. And then the next morning I was up and I would be either writing songs or I would be recording little demo things that I was writing or that I had just finished writing. Or I would be on the phone calling up this club, that club,
trying to book another
that
gig.
bar, trying to find another gig.
Wow.
And keep things going that way. And it was exhausting.
I can guarantee it was. Where in that did you decide, like, man, I'm gonna get a band up? Because this was all mostly you and your guitar.
Yes, it was me. When I first got started, when I was playing in those little clubs by myself, back in those days, the Marlboro Cigarette Company had a talent competition called the Marlboro Talent Roundup. And they would have it in all these major cities. There'd be one in Atlanta. There'd be one in Macon, Georgia. There'd be one in Dallas, Texas. There would be one in Chicago. There would be one, all these different places. And in order to be able to get into that competition, you had to submit a professionally recorded studio recording of at least 3 songs, and preferably at least 1 or 2 of those would be songs that you wrote yourself.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't have any money. I was playing, I was living paycheck to paycheck, working off my gigs, my solo gigs. And I met a guy who was an electrician who came in. We met just by him coming in and listening to me play. And I was telling him one night, I said, man, I really would like to enter this Marlboro Talent Roundup. But I said, I don't know anybody that has a studio, and I don't know anybody that has that kind of, I don't have the money to go in and do it. I just don't know where to start. And he said, you know what? He said, I am right now wiring up a studio, a garage studio for a guy. And he said, I'll bet you when it gets done, he said, we're going to be done in about 2 weeks. He said, when it's finished, he said, I bet he would let you, because you're a friend of mine, come in and record 2 or 3 songs for free. I said, dude, that would be fantastic. So a couple of weeks rolls around. He said, yeah, he's going to let you do it. So I go to this guy's house in Marietta, Georgia, and walk in his garage, which is now the studio. And I look up on the wall, and there's all these gold and platinum albums from Rod Stewart, ZZ Top, Prince, Madonna, Hank Williams Jr., Emmylou Harris, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. And I'm like, what does this guy do for a living?
Yeah.
He said, oh, he's a representative for Warner Brothers Records.
Holy cow.
And I said, oh my God, I had no clue. So I go in and sit down behind the glass to do my session. And about halfway through the first song, this guy walks in. I've never met him before, never seen him before. Walks in and sits down on the couch, the sofa, behind the engineer. And he's just sitting there and he's listening. And so when the 3 songs were done, I come out of the booth, and this guy that I've never met in my entire life, his name was Danny Davenport, walks up and grabs me and picks me up, hugs me, picks me up, and says, "Where in the world have you been all my life?"
Holy cow.
And he just raved about my voice and about my talent. And long story short, we ended up recording an album. He said, "I think you need to record an album just to have something to sell at your shows, you know, at your gigs. And, you know, so we should record the album right here in the studio." And it took us over a year and a half to record the album because none of us knew what we were doing.
Right. So he was learning all the technical part of it.
We hired a couple of guys that were engineers that knew a little bit about it, and they were training us. So a year and a half later, the album's done. I'm still playing gigs all over the country. And unbeknownst to me, without letting me know, he took those original tapes and flew to Burbank, California, to the home offices of Warner Brothers Records, and played those tapes for the president and vice president, which was Lenny Waronker and Mo Austin.
Holy cow.
And I was playing at the Cypress Lounge up off Bells Ferry Road in Marietta, Georgia. And I was on a break, and guy comes up and he said, "Hey, you got a phone call." And it was Danny Davenport. And he said, "I'm out here in Burbank." And he told me what he had done. And he said, "They want to sign you to Warner Brothers Records." And I said, "You got to be kidding me." He said, "No, they want to sign you." He said, "But," he said, "obviously this is the home office and you're obviously a country artist. So they want me to fly tomorrow from Burbank to Nashville to play these tapes for Jim Ed Norman, who was the president of Warner Brothers Nashville."
I got you. So the country executive that was leading the Nashville office.
So he said, I'll keep you posted. Well, he goes to Nashville, plays the stuff for Jim Ed Norman. Jim Ed Norman, for whatever reason, did not hear it. He didn't
trip his trigger like the California tune.
Not at all. He kept saying he's got this country thing, but he's also got this Southern rock thing, and that's dead. That's dead. And I really couldn't figure out why he was saying that, because the biggest artist that they had at Warner Brothers Records Nashville at that time was Hank Williams Jr.
Rockabilly himself.
The most Southern rock guy on the planet.
Right.
Country, Southern rock, all of that. So I couldn't figure it out, but he basically passed on me.
Wow.
And I wasn't privy to the conversation. I wasn't there, obviously, but I heard that he called Mo Austin and Lenny Waronker and said, "I just don't hear it." And they said something to the effect of, "That's okay. We'll just sign him out of
California.
The same way we did with Dwight Yoakam, and we'll release him out here if you don't hear it." And basically he reneged on his original thing. And he said, "I tell you, all right, I was going to pass, but I tell you what we'll do. I'll give him a 3 singles deal, which meant instead of recording an entire album, they were going to record 3 singles on me. And if one of those 3 singles did not go top 10 on the Billboard charts, then I was done.
Wow. And you kind of knew this going into it to a degree.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I was praying like crazy in August of 1989 when we released my first single, Country Club. And it took months. The charts moved a lot slower back then than they do today, but it took months for it to reach its peak position. And I think that was in November or December of that year, and it reached number 9.
Are you serious?
So I made by the skin of my teeth, I had a top 10 single. And so they came back and said, okay, got a top 10 single.
You're in.
Now
Yeah.
you've got to go back in the studio, record the whole album, and we'll release the album in the first part of next year, which was 1990. And that's where it all got started.
We're going to stop for a quick break, but please don't go anywhere. We got so much to come.
A wingman flies close with unwavering dedication. At Folds of Honor, a wingman stands with families of America's fallen or disabled heroes. The burial flag given to their grieving family is folded 13 times. As a wingman, your $13 monthly donation provides scholarships to their spouses and children. 13 folds, $13. Become a wingman. Join today at foldsofhonor.org. With your rifle attached by our patented Spartan Magnaswitch system, rise up from behind the sagegrass, silently, quickly, stable, and ready to fire. The Spartan Springbok bipod and tripod deliver button-free instant position changes, always ready to provide a stable shooting platform. Find us at javelinbipod.com to see the system in action and purchase fulfilled direct to you from our Texas warehouse. Spandau Arms was founded with a simple idea. The best part of hunting isn't the gear, it's the memories. From the first rooster rise of the season in the tall grass to the last second opportunity on the target buck as sunset closes in. Spandau believes firearms should be built to perform, priced to be accessible, and designed to become an essential piece of your hunting story. Their lineup includes field-ready shotguns and precision-driven rifles built for hunters, competitors, and recreational shooters who know that quality and dependability matter more than the hype. Born from the experience of American hunters and crafted by generations of gunmakers, each Spandau firearm is built for real-world performance in the moments that matter.
Here's what's good news about hearing this story. As big a fan I am of your music, I helped because in 1989, I'm in high school, and son, I don't know, I remember hitting in the batting cage, and we just have it on repeat on the radio, of course, a cassette. Now, if I'd have known, I would have made sure just to turn every radio station and listen to it. But like I said, even a song like Country Club, I would guaranteed that was a number 1 hit. I mean, everybody was listening to that song. I mean,
it was, well, first of all, I was blessed in a lot of ways. I think I had a voice that didn't sound like anybody else's.
Right.
Of course, I was part of that class of 89, which was Garth Brooks,
heavy hitters,
Alan Jackson,
mm-hmm.
Clint Black, and me.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that entire group, we all had different sounds. None of us sounded like each other. But out of that entire group, I was the one that was leaning more toward the Southern rock,
Skinner-ish,
yeah. Marshall Tucker Band, that type stuff. So my voice didn't sound like anybody else's, and it stood out. And even when I was doing a straight ahead country song like Country Club, people could identify it. They could hear it, and they could, oh, I know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, I mean, that and a whole lot of luck.
God, that is such a
Just
cool
it's
story.
what happened for me.
That is amazing. Well, I know the guy, your buddy, where you recorded the first album, he had to been just hugging you like a daddy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was thrilled, and I mean, all of his instincts were right.
That is so cool.
I mean, that was his job basically at the time. His job was to take any new song that any of the artists on Warner Brothers were releasing and get radio to play it.
Mm-hmm.
So his instincts had to be pretty good. That's a hit. That's not.
Yes.
That'll work. That won't. I mean, obviously, his instincts were pretty good with me.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I can imagine him believing in, like seeing them gold records on the wall when you see Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, you see Emmylou Harris. Obviously, he was behind some of that, so he wasn't a rookie to hearing good music.
Absolutely not.
See, that stuff right there is amazing. So basically, you go from kind of guitar, one-man show, playing covers, writing some songs, to playing some honky-tonks in Georgia, to inevitably trying to record a couple songs to get on the Marlboro Talent Contest, to essentially landing a record deal. So it ain't like you and one buddy from high school who's just mean on the Strat or the Les Paul over there and got them humbuckers singing. It was just, you almost had to go like, okay, now I got this. Now I need to start finding. Now I need to start making some phone calls and people that fit me and
band members,
drummers.
You asked me about band earlier. That's when I decided, okay, we had the album done. In order for me to make this thing grow and work, because Warner Brothers they were circling me, but they hadn't signed me yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still playing clubs, still doing the thing. But I thought, man, if they do sign me, then I'm going to have, first of all, a little ticket to help promote me, Warner Brothers recording artist.
Right.
That's going to help bookings, right? But if I'm going to do that, I've got to have a band.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to replicate these songs that were on that first album before I ever got the complete deal with Warner Brothers, if I'm going to replicate these songs in these clubs, I've got to have a band to be able to do it. So that's when I started, and it was one or two people. I started out, I met a guy, Jimmy Joe Regier. He was a harmonica player, played a little bit of guitar, a little bit of fiddle, sang harmony vocals. Started working with him first, and then
was he local? Was he somebody you met out of state or through the record?
He came to one of the shows one night.
Wow!
In one of the clubs, and he started getting up and sitting. Hey, you mind if I sit in with you? And he played harmonica. And did such a great job. So he and I started working together, and then we met a guy that was a bass player. He came in and he said, "Man, I'd love to work with your group. You know, if you got a place for a bass player." Brought in a bass player, and then at that time I was doing all the lead and rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So I really needed a guitar player. So found a guy named Wendell Cox, who is still in my band to this day. And he and I started working together, found a drummer, and just put it all together. And we started traveling all over the country. But now instead of just being able to play, beer joints, bars, honky-tonks, bowling alleys, biker bars, we can play Miss Kitty's. We can play Billy Bob's in Texas. We can play some of these bigger places and sort of get the word out, expand things a little bit better.
Golly.
Yeah, so that's how it grew.
You don't even know what a cool, for me, to hear that, because I remember I was learning to play guitar like in high school.
Yeah.
About the time Country Club come out. And obviously I was a huge, like you mentioned, Marshall Tucker. You mentioned Leonard Skinner and all those guys, Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
And I was always a guitar guy, and I love those Southern rock. I mean, how can you not be from Georgia and not love Charlie Daniels and Marshall Tucker and all those guys?
Yeah.
And I remember when I first heard, and I went to one of your concerts early on. It was in the 90s. And the first thing that blew my mind is looking back now, is seeing you and Wendell up there. It was almost like he's playing a little lead and rhythm. It was almost felt Skinnered even more, because I remember I went back and like, dude, I knew Travis was, I mean, I was a fan enough to buy a ticket and go to your show. But when I saw you playing that guitar, I'm like, dude, freaking goddamn Rossington up there just ripping. But then Wendell would take one. It was almost felt like a Leonard Skinner would, deadgum Alan Collins and Steve Gaines up there. And so now looking back and listening to those records, even hearing this story, I don't know, man. I just love that. I'm hoping people hearing this are saying, like, that to me blows my mind, is to see how it all come together, because it sounded like even from the guitar, you were forced to get better and better in the guitar, because when you're a one-man act,
100%,
there ain't no other fluff. You ain't got to go over there just strumming a little blues chord for you as you rip a little E blues. You got to hit it and come and go.
There's nobody to lean on.
Nobody
To lean on except yourself. So when I first started learning how to play guitar way back when I was a kid, I would learn to play sort of rhythm and then try to find the lead in the chord without, coming down here and dropping out. Because you got to keep that rhythm going, because otherwise it just feels like the bottom drops out of it, right?
Right.
So that was a sort of a style that I learned from watching all these other people that were great at doing that.
Hank Jr. was amazing at it.
He was great at it. People like Mac Davis, Glenn Campbell.
Yes.
Those guys, they were all great. And I still consider myself, I don't consider myself anywhere near as good as those guys were. But you could figure it out enough to make it work. But I'd had to do that. I was forced to do that for a long time before I finally got band members and was making enough money to be able to pay band members and,
to have your first jam session, essentially.
There you go.
So I would imagine by the time you had Wendell in there and you had the dude playing harmonica, your friend.
Oh yeah.
I bet you it was like magic. Like,
oh man.
And it seemed so natural, we
got together the first time I was renting a house from my mother in Marietta, and we had a 2-car garage in that house. And so I would bring all the guys over to my garage to practice and to start working things out together. And yeah, man, just humble beginnings, neighbors screaming, "Shut up." Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, and I was fortunate, because I was a lot more fortunate than most, because most people, Garth Brooks talks about how many times he got turned down by all these different record labels when he first came to Nashville. So many other people, same thing. I was lucky that I got signed to the first record label that I was presented to.
Yes. I mean, that's very, I would say, rare.
Very rare. And once again, just good luck. It was really good luck being at the right place at the right time.
All in God's timing too.
That's right.
It is amazing to think about it. Playing a gig, trying to hustle up a tip jar and whatever the salary was, literally meeting an electrician. Yeah. Sitting out there, have one cold beer with, like, man, I'm trying to figure out how to, I want to do this. I just wired up. He didn't tell you that it's a guy that's working for Warner Brothers that knows all.
Didn't have a clue.
You're just like, it could have been anybody.
It
could have been a podunk studio that, I don't even know if we can get it done in here.
Could have been your house.
Could have been my house, yeah.
Anybody's house.
That's so cool.
So, yeah, it was just, once again, everything just worked out really, really well. But I still struggled for a lot of years. But I had it a lot easier than I would say other people did. trying to get started, because I already knew that Warner Brothers was, they hadn't made me sign on the dotted line yet, but they were circling. They were sending their reps down from Nashville every, few weeks, and they would listen to my sets, and they would make suggestions or make comments, and most all of it was really good. So I was encouraged by them.
It is amazing too. Like the gentleman who did work at Warner Brothers that you recorded your first couple songs. It's amazing, and I've seen the power of that. Like you obviously had enough confidence in yourself. I feel like I'm good enough to get on this talent show.
Yeah.
But for him to light up, I bet that was electricity too, just to see that somebody his level, like knowing he believed in you, wanted you to make it even better, like even grind a little deeper.
That was the greatest gift probably of all. Because like you said, you can have all the confidence in the world or try to have all the confidence in the world, but still you want people that are impartial to be able to stand up and say, you're good. You're good enough.
Yeah.
You're good enough. That's one of the reasons why in the last 20-something years, all these talent contests that you see on television, The Voice.
Yeah.
And American
Idol.
Talent,
Yeah. American Talent. Yeah.
Yep. All of those have sprung up because of that very thing. People want to be told by somebody that's a good judge of those people. Yeah, you're good enough.
Yeah.
You're good enough.
It almost reminds me, it was Jeff Foxworthy shared that story about Kathy Truitt.
Yes.
And you probably already know what I was going to say, the standpoint of like, when somebody needs encouraging.
That's right.
Every minute, every day.
Every minute of every day.
And it kind of even gets back to talking about raising our kids and where we at. I mean, encouragement is everything. And even when you hear, and I think so many people hear a song on the radio, they hear a Travis Tritt song and they're like, you wonder what the story is, or you wonder like, oh, had a rich daddy possibly, or whatever. I mean, I get it in the hunting industry. Yeah, man, I can guarantee you, well, he always had this or that. And like, no, man, we have nothing. For some reason you get in a turkey calling contest and do pretty good. And I remember it was a Paul Butsky who was my turkey calling hero. And he said, man, that's some of the best yelping and clucking I've ever heard. And it's my hero. It's like, probably like when Waylon Jennings first said, boy, I like your music. I imagine because you worked and met and become friends with so many. You cut records with Rossington of Skinner. Speaking of Southern rock, what was that like? Speaking of a whole nother level of encouragement, is to know that when you're sitting around, obviously here you are by this time mid 80s or I'm sorry, you're in the 90s, and you're sitting around and there's Rossington. Now you know and hanging out and know Hank Jr. or Waylon Jennings. What was that like?
It was like, first of all, I would sit around and just pinch myself.
Like, yeah.
I can't believe this is happening. And I was just amazed by all of it. If I was talking years ago, Gretchen Wilson, when she first came out, we were on the same record label at the time.
Boy, she can sing too.
And she can sing. And she was doing she was actually opening a show for me, and got to meet her for the first time. And I just bragged on her and told her how good I thought she was. And she said, well, is there any advice that you have for me? And I thought for a second, and I thought, yes. I said, get somebody, one of your people, one of your entourage, one of your people in your band, somebody, to follow you around everywhere you go with a video camera and videotape all of these experiences. Because I said, from my own experience, you wake up one day, because it's like being in the middle of a tornado. You're watching all these things go by so fast, and you're right in the middle where all the calm is, but there's so much happening around you. If you're not documenting that, you'll forget it.
from the big rigs coming in to the shows to just a conversation with Waylon or
somebody will post something to this day. Somebody posted something recently, a television show that I did for the Nashville Network, where I was singing with Ricky Skaggs, just the two of us.
wow.
I was playing guitar, he was playing mandolin, and we were doing an old gospel songs. I had completely forgotten about that performance until somebody dug that up. And so I told her, I said, get somebody to follow you around and document every bit of this, because there's going to come a time, one of these days, this is all firsts for you.
Right.
And you're going to want to remember what was that like the first time that I went to the Grammy Awards. What was it like the first time I went to the CMA Awards?
Correct.
What was it like the first time that I had a gold record?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you don't get somebody to document that stuff for you, you won't be able to remember it. And I said, I wish I had that.
Even just something simple as a writing session of where you come up with hooks.
Yes, man.
And if you think of those rooms and who was in it.
100%.
Some of those same guys still writing hit records. I mean, even for yourself, Gretchen, the same. It's like if you just could go back and have those moments. It's like, there. See, I'm not lying. That is where we come up with, that's where we come up with the hook right there. That was the line. And we argued about it. And it was just,
That's right. That's right.
That is amazing. I heard, speaking of Gretchen, I heard her, it was live. She actually come played at the SHOT Show one year. And she did a heart song, Barracuda.
Yeah, man.
And bro, I was swearing, it's like this, there's not many times you hear somebody sing an Ann Wilson song, and I was sitting there thinking, is this equal or better? I felt weird even thinking that when I thought of somebody like an Ann Wilson.
I felt exactly the same way the first time I heard her do it.
Yeah, did you really?
I did, man. I saw that on television. It was on some big show they were doing, and she was doing, it might have been Crossroads on CMT.
I bet, yeah.
And she was doing Barracuda. Oh my gosh, man, she can sing.
I know, and it's a weird feeling for me because I was a huge, Heart fan.
Oh, me too.
And I went and saw Heart at a show.
Yeah.
They opened for Def Leppard, and I was like, and I remember sitting there and Ann was singing, and then the next time I'd heard that song live, it was Gretchen Wilson at this big party at the SHOT Show in Vegas, and I'm thinking, I felt weird, like I was two-timing Heart, like I was sitting there thinking, she might sing this. She sings it every bit as good, maybe better in places, and I was just blown away. I felt like I was two-timing Ann Wilson.
Well, that's the thing that impressed you is the same thing that impressed me. You know how rare that happens?
Very rare.
When somebody covers somebody else's song and do it as good or better than the original artist.
Right.
That very, very...
At that level of singing too, it's
very rarely does that ever happen.
To me, that's almost like somebody trying to do Brian Johnson. Obviously, different way of singing,
right,
but you don't hear a lot of
Sure.
AC/DC songs.
That's right.
It's like, who can
do that?
Who can demolish the voice to get to that? All right, that's the end of the show. Back in black. We're done.
It's amazing.
It is. One story I want to, because obviously, man, I could sit here for 4 days and talk to you, Travis, but I know I'm, would value to your time. But you was telling me a story, and speaking of those first one-man shows, you was telling me the story of that first Strat that you bought where you was playing acoustic, but you realized you was competing with the dartboard, with the billiard table. You was competing with the wedding party over there, bachelorette's party. And you was telling me about when you got that first electric.
I bought that guitar at the Music Mart in Smyrna in, I guess, probably 85. And the reason that I got that guitar, I had never played an electric guitar in my life. I'd always played acoustic guitar. And I was doing shows every night. I'm playing from 8 p.m. till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. every night. And I would notice that, starting off first set, second set, and a lot of people that are sitting out eating dinner, and a lot of those people would listen and some would applaud and that sort of thing. But by the time you got to that
beer 30,
third or fourth set, man, people are distracted.
Mm-hmm.
They're not paying attention to me up there on stage with a guitar. They've got sports on television, or they've got a dartboard tournament going on in the back,
mm-hmm.
or they've got a pool tournament taking place, or they've got pinball machines over here, and all these different things that are making noise, flashing lights, all this stuff. So I was just racking my brain. How do I get these people to pay attention to me?
Yeah. I want to be the flashy pinball machine.
That's right.
Yeah.
I want you to listen to what I'm doing. So I went to the Music Mart in Smyrna, and I saw this amp, which was a Fender Twin.
Yep.
And I saw that guitar, that Fender Stratocaster. And I bought both of them.
Wow.
And back in those days, I've never seen one since. Back in those days, the Music Mart in Smyrna, they had hanging on the wall 100-foot guitar cord.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
100 feet long.
That's a lot of cord. Yeah.
A lot of cord. Most cords, 10 feet, 20 feet.
Right.
100 feet long. I thought, yeah, I want that.
I got it. Yeah.
And so I brought this amp and brought that guitar. And for the first two sets, maybe the first three, I was just playing my acoustic guitar like I always had with my drum machine. But by that last third or fourth, fifth set, I'm grabbing that electric guitar and I'm doing stuff like Johnny B. Good or Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bad Moon Rising.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. And I am now, because of that 100-foot guitar cord, I'm able to jump off the stage and run out and jump up on top of people's tables. Well, dude, if I'm on top of your table,
yeah,
you have got to pay attention to me.
Attention.
That worked. I figured out that was the ticket.
Now somebody's stopping, like, kind of
yeah,
drop the pool stick and walking there.
Oh,
what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know what they were thinking. Probably thinking, a lot of them probably, what is this crazy SOB going to do next? But I started noticing within a few weeks or months after I started doing that, and I was doing it every night, more and more people were coming. And they weren't coming for the dart tournament or the pool tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They were coming specifically to sit and watch me.
That's
and
awesome.
After a while, of course, it took a bit of time, but on Friday and Saturday nights, there'd be a line out the door
mm-hmm.
waiting to get in. And of course,
yeah,
that adds value. You can go to the club owner and say, all right, see all those people standing out there? You want them here next week? Let's bump the money up.
Bump it up.
And it just went on from there. Just gradually over a long period of time, not too long, but over several years, it gradually got to the point to where I felt like I could get a booking anywhere that I wanted to play
mm-hmm.
and play there for not just 1 or 2 nights, but play there for as the house band for 5-6 weeks and then rotate out. And I had a sort of a circuit that I would move inside of. One would be in Atlanta, Georgia. One would be in Macon, Georgia. One would be in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
One would be in Fort Worth, Texas. One would be in Alabama. And I would just sort of rotate out from one club to the next for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time.
And you can move pretty agile because it wasn't like having to have a bus. I mean,
No.
You could just get in your pickup and go. Huh?
I had a 1981 Ford F100
Uh-huh.
pickup truck, and I would go and rent a U-Haul trailer, and we would load all the gear in the back of that U-Haul or in the back of my truck and drive wherever we wanted to go.
Was even one of my favorite songs that you jam on is "Homesick." Did you play that even back in the day a lot? "Homesick."
I grew up, of course, listening to Atlanta Rhythm Section, all that stuff. "Homesick" was a big one, but I really didn't decide to record that until my second album.
Mm-hmm.
And what I always tried to do I started doing it on a little bit on the first album, but what I wanted to do on every album was, you've got 10 or 11 sides to or cuts on that album. And I wanted to show the country side. I wanted to show the blues side. I wanted to show a little bit of the bluegrass side. And I wanted to show a little bit of that Southern rock side on every album. So it was always like I always wanted to put at least one or two cuts of each one of those things. And so the second album, I was thinking about, what's a good Southern rock thing. And that was always, "Homesick" was always one of my favorites. And so I brought it to my producers, and they said, "Oh man, we've got some great guitar players in Nashville that would love to be a part of something like this," because they don't get to play that
right
with most of the country artists. So we did, and yeah, man, it was just.
So they had fun too. They loved it.
They loved it, and surprisingly enough, there were a few rock stations. Country wouldn't play it, but rock stations. 96 Rock in Atlanta picked it up, and they were actually playing "Homesick" in their rotation. And because they were playing it, several other rock stations, there was one in Dallas, several other rock stations around the Southeast started playing that song. So it was like drawing in a new audience. People that were hearing some of the country stuff that I was doing that wasn't really resonating, but they heard that. They heard "Homesick," and they were like, "Dude, that's what I want to hear."
Oh, no doubt.
So it made the album sales go up.
No, that I remember hearing that. Matter of fact, we had a little band, and we would always try to play "Homesick." But we'd always listen to your version of it. And we would try to mimic it. We never got it down, but enough to where they was like two girls like,
there
that
you go.
Enough. Like,
that's
enough,
all
man.
you need, man.
Shoot, yeah. But man, it's such an amazing opportunity for me to hear a story and hear, like I said, the hard work, and you got the cracks in the door. Sometimes you got to kick them on in.
That's right.
The lucky breaks, the blessings, and then just grind. And I think that's what some people miss too. There's always that time to where the uncomfortable position is like, "All right, boy, let's see how this works. It's on you now."
Absolutely.
And I think some people squirm out of that situation. They don't want to put it all on them, but obviously you can have everybody in the world believe in you, but at the end of the day, who else is going to believe in you, and how well do you believe in yourself? And so to hear those stories of the perseverance, and it had to be uncomfortable getting out there with an electric guitar and trying to figure out how to rock the whole club. Some people just run from those things.
Even later on, I mean, once we started recording for Warner Brothers and started, we had the one hit, and then, okay, let's go back, do the album. Second single was "Help Me Hold On." That became a big hit. So the more hits you start having, the more the record label and everybody else, they want you, man, you got to work, get those bookings. So I remember the first 2 years, 1990 and 1991, after I had a little bit of success, I was doing 200 and something shows, 250 shows a year, maybe.
So you are on the road. I mean,
Constantly.
Burning the midnight oil, son.
The first 2 years, this is where that work ethic thing comes into play. First 2 years, I remember distinctly. I was off for 2 weeks in a year, and no 2 days out of that 14 days were ever together.
Holy cow.
Because think about it. If you're not doing gigs, then you got to be in the studio recording.
Right.
If you're not in the studio recording, then you have to be writing, songwriting. If you're not songwriting, you have to be doing a press junket.
Y'all at a radio station constantly.
Exactly. Or whatever. So we were constantly on the, like I said, those first 2 years, 90 and 91, I was on the road constantly. Never got a chance to come home. And if I did get a chance to come home, I was never home for more than a day, and then right back out on the road again.
I was going to say, people don't realize there is no relationship with anything else other than the music and career at that point.
That's why today, I mean, to this day, I hear about artists that just had success 2 or 3 years ago, and all of a sudden they're saying publicly, they're saying, oh, I'm just exhausted. I need to take a break. Yeah. And I don't understand that.
There's where we don't have the empathy.
That's right.
You hear that in almost every industry of people like, well, man, I'm tired, man. I've even heard in the hunting industry like, well, deer ain't moving. It's I'm like, man, dude, are you serious? And then you look at your career and all the artists that I know that are, yeah, you might find success, but I'm talking about you look at the span of your career, from the late 80s to now. I've been to some of your shows now. There's still piles of people that come in. There's still all these artists that look up to you. And that's the one thing that I think these people that do have an amazing talent, they forget. It's not easy. I mean, if it was easy, well, there's a lot of people that would just, I mean, I've seen some people at karaoke joint sing pretty good, but but the part in between that grind, them bus rides, all those press junks, and then being nice to everybody, in some cases being just overwhelmed, every bit of the energy that you would have is exhausted on everybody else. And the last thing you can do is to even think about yourself. You might get a Gatorade.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
That's it. Maybe. Might get to pee.
That's right.
Might get to go pee.
I think one of the things, that's probably one of the things I'm proudest of.
Yeah.
Is the fact that I never, in my entire career and to this day, I've never phoned it in. I've always had my nose to the grindstone. I want to go out there and give people the best possible performance, give them their money's worth and more, because that's just the way I've always done it. I've never sat back and thought, oh, I can fake it through this one, or I don't have to sing as hard, or I don't have to push as hard, or, I can cut some stuff out of the set list and make it a shorter show. No, I've never done that.
It's amazing too, if you think about it. It's funny in any of these shows like this or podcasts, like one question I had, but it's already answered, is like, what would you tell anybody out there, an artist, how to make it? Well, it's already kind of been answered. It's like outwork your competition, keep an attitude, work hard and grind it. I mean, that can be, same would said, it's almost like, today I can go home and say, look, kids, Travis and I feel the same.
Yes.
But how do you win? Outwork everybody.
100%.
Outwork everybody. And when you're doing 200, over shows, even when you get in the 180s,
yes.
I mean, it don't take, I never learned a lot in school, but I know there's 365 days in a year.
That's right.
And so do the math. Now that's the shows. Like you said, there's
that's
work. The shows are probably the easiest part. At least
the easiest part.
You get 2 or 3 hours out there to,
that's right.
to show your talent.
That's the easiest part.
Yeah.
All the stuff that people don't see is traveling from one place to the next, planes, trains, automobiles, the whole deal of trying to get, 1,000 miles from this place to this place in 2 days. It's just, it wears you on you
Mm-hmm.
after a period of time. And that's why I say, but you got to be willing, you know. I love what my friend Kid Rock, Bob Ritchie, I love what he says all the time. He says, you know, I figured out a long time ago, I'm not going to be the most talented person out there ever, but there's nobody that's going to outwork me.
He's another example of that.
I love that. I love that attitude, because if you can have just a little bit
Yeah.
of what somebody else has got talent wise, but if you're willing to go out there and work harder than they are, my prediction is that's the person I'm going to put my money on.
That, if I'm a betting man, I'm going to put my, you're right. Kid Rock is a prime example of that. You know, like I said, if you got to go head to head in work ethic, you got to bring it. He's going to outwork you. You might can outsing him.
Yep.
You might can outsing him. You might can do certain things better. But you know, the work part of it, man, it's retarded. I don't even know if you can say that, but it's so hard that, I mean, it's like you don't stop. Like he's setting his alarm and having coffee to go and, like, where are these songs? It's like Prince. It's like how many albums, all those, you know, when they, was at Paisley Park, I think, you know, when they closed up after Prince passed away, all the work that he was putting in every day.
I know during COVID, that's one of the things I saw him, I saw Bob talking about on maybe Tucker Carlson's show, talking about that during COVID, when everything was completely shut down, that he said, I couldn't really tell the difference. Really? Why not? Because I was in here working in the studio every single day, writing new songs, working on a new album, working on this, working on that. And he said, so as soon as people started to come out of their houses and thought, okay, well, maybe this is not the end of the world. He said, I was already.
He had them something.
4 steps ahead of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a new album ready to go. I'm ready to hit the road. And that's just an example of how a person that is willing to put in the work, put in the time, and not let anybody outwork you.
Yeah, that's right. It almost reminds me of even the college football story, national championship. I've been still seeing on social media, like the Indiana, a lot of people still can't believe it. You know, they had 2-star guys, and then obviously, I mean, I'm not saying Miami and all the other teams didn't work their butt off, but I would say nobody outworked Indiana.
I would say that too.
I mean, their age and their discipline and their ethics of how they went about it, they were outmatched.
They were, for
based
sure.
on a statistical football, you know, chalkboard.
I think their coach had a little something to do with that too.
What
That's one of the most intense dudes. We were in Mexico week before last, and we watched the championship from Mexico. And that, what's his name? The coach?
Oh, Cignati. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know his first name. Cignati, I think, or Cignati.
He comes out.
Looks like Hannibal Lecter.
Dude, I looked at my wife and my kids and some other people that were there with us, and I said, first of all, look at the intensity in that guy's face.
Yeah.
That guy, first of all, if he smiled, it would crack his face, I think.
I think so.
Although he did smile when it was over.
Yep.
But that dude is intense.
Yes.
Intense. Constantly. And even if they scored a touchdown, he
no reaction. Yeah, just to look and just like he's already
intensity, man. That's hard to beat.
It's hard to beat.
That's hard to beat.
He cracked the code on that. But you know what? He found some young men. I won't even, I mean, like I said, I would call them kids, but based on the college football roster, if you look at that, some of those kids, they had one guy that looked there, he looked like I was standing on the sidelines, you know. It's like, you know, dude had great experience. College eligibility, come on, play for this guy. But most of those kids are, 23, 24 on that team, but they were 2-star guys.
That's right.
They worked extra hard, and they won the Natty. But it's just like what you did in music. And so many, I mean, there's so many artists you could name, but you can also name equally, probably more, that probably had the talent that they didn't even have to work as hard as most, but just, I ain't doing this radio junction. This is BS, and I don't want to do this. And,
that's right.
Are you kidding me? A meet and greet? Are you kidding me? And
don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
Don't be lazy.
One story I did hear about, and I actually saw a piece on this that was so intrigued me. That's off the topic of subject. Was that story of that vacation home, that cabin that you had them haints in?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Up in
I didn't sleep for 3 nights after that. Yeah. Holy cow.
I got approached from, I can't even remember the name of the network.
It was a haunting in something, a haunting in
Haunting
Georgia.
of.
The haunting of, yes. Was it on Lifetime or Discovery or somewhere?
I don't know. It was one of those.
A big network, yeah.
Yeah, and they had different people. I mean, Michael Madsen was on it. They had a bunch of different celebrities on there. But they got word that, actually, they called me and asked me, this show is doing really well. We would like to know if you have any experiences with ghosts,
paranormal,
anything like that. And I said, well, as a matter of fact,
I do.
And I bought that cabin up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, back in the 90s. And this is way before I bought it, before I met my wife, actually. I think I bought it same year I bought my house, which was 92. And, man, it was weird because I would go up there if I had, a few days off, 2 or 3 days off. I would go up there just by myself, put a little bass boat in, go out and do a little fishing and just hang out there by myself. And I would lay in bed at night thinking that I had left the television on in the other room because I would hear voices. And I would get up. Oh, I better go turn that TV off.
Yeah.
And I would get up and walk into that main living room, and there's nobody there.
Holy cow.
And then I started seeing, footprints in the carpet where...
Freshly vacuumed.
Absolutely. 100%. So, yeah, I had a lot of weird experiences up there.
That is crazy, man.
As part of that. So, yeah, and I always thought that it was like because to me, I mean, that being Blue Ridge, Georgia, there were a lot of Native American tribes,
right?
Indian tribes up
right.
there. And I always thought that was probably what it was, but that's what got me. And when here's the funny thing about that. When I first started entertaining the idea of doing that show, somebody said, well, I'll tell you right now, if you ever want to sell this place, you're going to be screwed because nobody's going to want to live in a haunted house.
You're going to either have some freak pay you double money or nobody going to buy it.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was all true.
Because they finally come back on the documentary. It was talking about they thought some kind of old voodoo dude or some bad guy.
Yes.
And like it was some, I forget the whole story, but it was enough. And like I said, I remember watching Thinking TV, and even your reaction, you was like, "Oh, okay, all right, whatever you say." But it was spooky, man. I was like, dude. I always liked Blue Ridge. I always liked Hella, Georgia, and Hawaii.
Oh, me too.
But I was thinking, man, I might wait to go camp up there for a day or two. Yeah.
Well, people have asked me since then, do you still have that place? And I said, no, I sold it. But, you sold it because it was haunted, right? I said, no.
Right.
I said, I just never got a chance to spend much time up there. I would go.
Yeah.
I was on the road so much. I'd be able to take my family up there maybe 3, 4, 5 days a year.
Right. And
that was it. And I couldn't see the benefit out of it.
Right. And them ghosts would never pay no rent. No. They lived there rent free all that time.
Them haints.
You got to pay out
them haints.
Man, my wife and I built a new house in 2021, and it's kind of an old school kind of Southern home.
Yeah.
And I remember I said, well, we got to paint under the porch that Haint blue.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of let them Haints on. And,
That's
and
right.
I mean, all the Southern culture, especially all the black Southern culture,
100%.
every porch is going to have that Haint blue under it.
That's exactly right.
And you know what was the coolest thing? A little bit of name drop. So Blake and Gwen built a house, and you know that Gwen had hers Haint blue? And I
Really?
said, and she knew the story.
Oh, really?
And I just thought that was the coolest thing.
That
Last
is cool.
person I was thinking with Gwen would have been into that, and ends up she really likes a lot of the Southern culture of the stuff that we grew up around, some of these old
Absolutely.
homes and stuff. So I thought that was
There's a reason for a lot of things in our culture
yeah.
that a lot of people I don't think know anything about.
I know, and
That's
I
one
always
of 'em.
loved that. I mean, I'm obviously
too.
we've tried and true Southern boys, and so
Yes.
yeah, I mean it's insane. And well, man, we'll get ready to close this thing out. The last thing I wanted to give you enormous credit for that let me know how cool you were and you were his own man is when you and old Marty Stewart did that No Hats tour. You know, there wasn't a single, looking back, there wasn't a single country artist. Some of them never even owned a cowboy hat until they started singing country music and had a record deal.
That's right.
And I love that y'all just said, man, we're not against cowboy hats, but we don't wear them a lot. We
That
got
was-
the flow, and Marty had the flow.
Yeah.
Marty had the flow.
We both had the flow back then.
Yeah, you did too, boy.
I
That
had
flow.
hair down to about right here. And yeah, we both, well, first of all, when you're trying to break into the music industry, you want to try to set yourself apart, make yourself stand out, you know?
Yeah.
And of course, in that class of 89, Garth wore a cowboy hat, Clint wore a cowboy hat, Alan Jackson wore a
did. Yep.
cowboy hat. So I was the only one that didn't, and I did that on purpose.
Mhm.
You know, first of all, it didn't fit my program because I didn't see that many cowboy hats in the biker bars and
No.
pool halls that I played in. You know, saw a lot of long hair and leather and that sort of thing. So yeah, it was just, you know, you play to your audience. That's what
correct.
you do.
That's correct.
And so I wanted to, you know, set myself apart. And then when Marty and I finally got the opportunity to tour together, and we like names for tours. I always liked tours that had names to them.
I agree.
And the No Hats tour just seemed perfect, you know. And then I think even Garth at the time was a little confused by it. He said, what are they trying to do? Saying they don't like cowboy hats? No. You're missing the point.
Right.
You're missing the point. We're trying to set ourselves apart
That's exactly right.
and be something different.
Well, it worked.
It did work.
It worked because I never thought of Travis Tritt, nor even Marty Stewart as a hat wearer. I mean,
No.
but it reminded me of that because, man, y'all had nice hair. It
Sure.
was flowing. It was rocking. It was that kind of Southern
Sure.
rock. Marty had that kind of little bit of the nudie suit, Western vibe,
Yeah,
kind of
man.
covered. And I don't know, man, it worked. I will say, I always like names of tours as well. And the most ballsy name of a tour I'd ever seen, and I bought this shirt. Ted Nugent did Black Power Tour. I'm not lying, Travis. I go there and I buy this shirt. It's Nuge, and he's got an afro, and he's got his Birdland guitar, and he's ripping it. And so I literally bought the shirt. He was up in Pennsylvania playing. I said, Ted, bro, are you just wanting CNN here to jump on?
Yeah.
He said, and man, he got so pissed. He's like, this is not racist at all. All my heroes are Muddy Waters, Robert John. He started naming all this stuff. He said, this is the Black Power too.
Yes,
this
indeed.
is black music. Of course, kicks a little ass from the Nugents. And I just thought, what a name of a tour. And what's so funny is
great.
I haven't even wore the shirt in public. Like, I love this shirt, but I'm scared to death. I'm like, man, I don't know where to wear this sucker. But
He's
but
probably the only person that could pull that off.
I know,
too.
and dude, they were lined up buying them shirts, and I've been waiting ever since. Like, I want to see somebody like, I got that shirt too, you know. Everybody still sees the Rolling Stones, old retro Motley Crue, even
sure.
the Waylon Jennings shirts. But I have not seen that. But I know he sold a lot because he had them lined up at the merch aisle.
incredible,
But-
man. That's incredible.
Well, Travis, I can't thank you enough. Once
Thank
again,
you,
you're
brother.
still working, you're still grinding, you're still touring. What do you got going on? Anybody listening, man? Where can somebody? Are you still playing some gigs and getting after it?
I back. Let's see, 3 years ago, when I turned 60 years old, I decided, up until that point, I've been doing about 135, 145, 150 shows a year. And I decided, you know what? I don't want to retire, but I just want to cut back, spend a little bit more time with my family and my kids. And so I cut it in 2022. I cut it from 135 to 75. And that was pretty good, but wasn't quite what I was looking for yet. So the next year I dropped it to 50.
Good.
And that's what I've been doing every year since then. As far as this year, I had this entire year booked as of November of 2025. I had all of 2026 booked. And about 2 weeks ago, we got a notification from, I don't even know if I should say who the artist is. We got a notification from a up-and-coming new artist who basically came in and said, hey, I'm going to offer you all of these dates to be direct support to me if you'll do them. So we have been scrambling, going in and shuffling. I think it'll be probably end up doing 27 dates or so with this artist. And once it comes out, you're going to know exactly who that artist is. One of the biggest names that has just come on the scene in the last few years. But I would tell everybody to stay tuned to my website, my Instagram, which is Travis Tritt, at Travis Tritt, Real Travis Tritt. Go to my Instagram page, go to my X page, go to my Facebook page, go to travistritt.com, and we are going to be updating you in the next few days on a pretty amazing tour for this year.
You know what's funny? And I am a Travis Tritt fan. I'm sitting here trying not to fanboy, but at the same time, I already feel like I know, and I don't know nothing. And the only reason is because I saw a couple videos floating around on social media, like I said, once again, and you and this other gentleman who I met briefly that I think is probably, to me, he's what Travis Tritt and Alan Jackson was to country music back then. So you know what? I didn't say no names either, but I bet you a lot of people putting it together.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed.
It's not Billy Gibbons.
No.
Close.
Let's just keep our fingers crossed that all of it comes together.
That's got to happen, man, for anybody. That's got to happen.
I'm excited about it.
I'll be online. I'll book one of them shows.
Please do.
So if you see a redneck out there, I hope you still got the 100-foot guitar cord, because I want to see it out there, son. Put a little drive in my country. I'll be out there. And, you know, I always tell people, one thing about it, if you look out there and I'm a fan and a friend, I always tell somebody, there's no way I have a gift to match certain gifts that some of my friends give me. But if a fight breaks out, I'm on your team.
I appreciate that,
I don't care if you started
brother.
or not, T. I'm on your
and
team.
I know that's absolute fact.
You dang right.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you.